In this lesson, I just want to talk briefly about the basic colour wheel and complementary colours. So here's the wheel. You have the three primary colours, which are red, blue and yellow. They are colours that cannot be mixed with any other colours. And then you have the secondary colours, which is where two primary colours have been mixed together. So we have red and blue, which will create a purple, red and yellow, which will create an orange, blue and yellow, which will create a green. Now, complementary colours lie opposite in a colour wheel. So the complementary colour to red is green and the complementary colour to green is red. And it's the same with purple and yellow, yellow and purple, blue and orange. Okay. Now, when you mix two complementary colours together, red and green, you will get what they call a neutral. And it's more of a brown or a grey brown. Yellow and purple, as you can see, will create a brown, and blue and orange. And it's good to have knowledge of that. So, you might think, oh, I've never have thought that those two would make brown, but sometimes you want a particular shade of brown, and two complementary colours will very often give you that. Plus, it's really, really useful if you want to tone a colour down. So, for example, if you've got a red on a painting and you think, do you know, that's just too bright, if you put a tiny bit of its complementary colour, you will tone it down, and this will prove this here. I'm just going to show you the bottom two, but this is the same red. If you put a tiny bit of green in, you can see that changes. It becomes far more subtle. It tones the whole colour down. If you put some purple into a bit of yellow, you will get this mustardy yellow. If you put a bit of orange into a blue, you get this more of a navy greeny blue. Greens are a colour that a lot of artists find difficult to handle, and very often I've been into these amateur art exhibitions and you're faced with a sea of green, of viridians and lime greens. So if you put a little bit of a red into a green, you can see how it changes to a beautiful sagey green, almost a browny green. So I'm just going to prove that with these bottom two here. So I've got my colours mixed. And I'm just going to add a little bit of yellow to the purple. I'll just do it a little bit at a time. Yeah. And you will now see that that will become more of an aubergine colour. Like that. And then with orange, the final one, so the opposite orange is your blue. So we'll pop a little bit of blue into this orange. And this will make it more of a spice colour. Like that. Okay, so that's useful to know, because sometimes if you're using red and you think, well, I want to make a darker red, people think that they should put black in it, but black will kill your painting dead. A purist would not use black or white. So this just gives you a bit of a hint. If you wanted a darker red, you put a little bit of its complementary colour in. If you wanted a darker yellow, if you were doing daffodils or something like that, it's good to have this knowledge. So that's how I use complementary colours quite a lot. Not necessarily for the neutrals, the 50-50 mix, but just when I want to tone a colour down. It's a good exercise to try. I'll see you in the next video.